So in our last video, we have created the employee table, and we didn't get to insert any rows or try out few things. So let's go ahead and insert now few rows in EMP table. So let's say we say ID, FNAME, LNAME, and let's say we don't want to enter age, which is fine. Let's say we want to enter salary, and then we insert say department ID. So as you see, I have skipped age, and which is fine because age is a nullable column. Now, so and we say ID equal to 1, FNAME equal to David, last name equal to Smith, and then we have age, we're not entering age, and the salaries, let's say, so this is at 10, so it has supposed decimal because it is 10.2, so let's say we say 100.12, or let's say primary key, and the department ID is, let's say 1. So let's insert these rows. Okay, so as you see, it has entered 1, and it doesn't have age for anything. You see, it has age, it has blank for age because we did not enter. So now let's try to enter a record if where department ID doesn't exist. So let's say we enter 5 for department ID, which doesn't exist. So let's see if it ends. Okay, so let's look at the error. It says integrity constraint test FK department ID violated. Now if you see where when we created our constraint, we call it the foreign key constraint on the department table, we call it FK underscore department ID, and it is saying that constraint is violated, parent key not found. What that means is that parent key, which is 5, this doesn't exist in the parent table. So in the department table, so then department table, the 5 doesn't, that parent key doesn't exist. So as you see here, we have defined this constant as FK department ID. It says it has violated that, and it is saying that parent key not found. What that means is that again 5 doesn't exist in the parent table, and parent table is the department table. So let's put 2, then you'll see it is go fine. So now if we do this, so we have David Smith. So now since we don't have 2 David Smith, so one way to we can update the record. So this is as I was saying, or the every database gives and a way to manipulate the record. So we just now fired an update command which allowed us to update the record. So now we did, if you want to update the salary, you can so let's increase the salary of everybody by, let's say, 10%. So we have increased the salary of everybody by 10%. So if you see, now we have everybody has a different salary by increased by 10%. So I think that sort of covers the basic parts of tables and records. Now let me show you how database stores different things. So here we have EMP table. Now here we have columns. So here we have all the columns, and it shows, as you see, data type is number, virtue 2, it is nullable, means it's null, yes or no. Then you can have a default values, we haven't used that. So, and this has a primary key. Now also you can enter comments to describe what each column means. You know, this is sort of a these comments will come handy if if you create the table and somebody else needs to look at it to see what each column means, then if you put comments, then he or she can figure out what other each column significance is. Then where you have the data, then this is indexes. We'll get to that later on. Now constants, as you see, we have two constants. One is foreign key constraint, another is primary key constraint. Now if you go to the department table, you will see department table has a is a primary key constraint, another is check department table is. So on the department table we have department table is not null. So this is a constraint. So it also has a constant type, check and primary. So any not null columns would have constant type. So remember, not null is a constraint. Null is not a constraint. So for example, in the department table, rest of the columns are null, but that doesn't mean that will be a constant, because that is a default behavior. So we don't have a constant for column being null. We have a constant for column being not null. So some of the other things we will talk in detail later on. So here is something called dependency. So department table really doesn't depend on anything, but if you go to EMP table, and if you have any other dependency other than primary foreign key relation, this will show up here. So I hope that gives you a good idea about that. So now let's take some more thing. Now let's talk about indexes. So you've gone through the constraints, we have gone through primary key, foreign key. Then okay, so let's, before we get into the other thing, let's join these two tables. And remember, in our first video we said we want to get the employees along with their department names. So let's say we want to call select EMP. So you want to select, let's say, some columns, okay, from EMP and department, and then we join this where EMP dot department ID equal to department dot ID. So in this way, or this is because these two tables has some relations where department ID is same, and that sort of uniquely join the rows between those two tables. So, and then the columns we want to print is that, let's say, EMP dot fname and department dot name. So what are the department names? It's called department name column. So okay, so we, as you see here, we have pulled David, his department is HR, Joe's is manufacturing. So it has got two rows. So now if we did not join these departments, so let's see what happens. Okay, so as you see here, without a join conditions, you get basically all possible combinations of David and Joe. So because we have 2 rows in EMP and 3 rows in department, you end up having total 6 rows, 2 times 3. Now think about it. If you don't have join, then if you have like multiple tables, each one is as 10,000 rows, you have lots of duplicate data. So by doing this, we are really pulling the right data. So this and then here sometimes you can call it aliasing also. EMP you can say A, because if your table names are big, then you can, instead of calling it department, you can say B. So this is called something called okay, we have done some mistake. So A dot fname department B, and then let's put this one also here. EMP is A, B. Okay, so this is called column aliasing. So I think this sort of the basic concepts of tables and rows. In the next video we'll probably take one more topic on this and then discuss some more advanced level topics, and after that we'll move on to something else. Thank you.